Hi guys, I'm Sneha and you're watching my channel Book Junction. So in today's video, I'm going to recommend to you some of the best self-help books. Now when it comes to the genre of self-help books, I know that books tend to get really repetitive and I know that tends to get really annoying and you wouldn't want to do that. I know time is really precious and you should invest your time in books that are really going to be helpful, especially when you are reading a self-help book, because I'm assuming that you really need help. So in this video, I have 8 books for you and all these 8 books are different from one another. So the best part about this recommendations video is that all these 8 books are enough for you when it comes to self-help. So yeah, without any further ado, now let's get into the recommendations part and I hope you like it. If you do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Alright, so the first 2 books that I want to recommend, I want you guys to read both the books one after the other. These books are not sequels and they are not even written by the same author, but they have a bit of a connection that is important, and that's why I want you guys to read these 2 books one after the other. So the first one is Grit by Angela Duckworth. I already have an entire review of this book on my channel. I will link it down in the description box. In case you want to check that out, you can totally do that. But in a summarized manner, I would just like to say that this book is of course about grit, but it has been written by a person who has studied psychology for the longest of time. The best part about this book is that Angela Duckworth has done a lot of research and she has went ahead and talked to a lot of different personalities from different fields. So this makes this book a really wholesome experience, and of course it's all about grit. So sometimes we think that when you totally focus yourself on one objective or one goal, you are tend to be a gritty person, but is that it? That's where the question arises, and there are different things related to grit that she has covered. And grit is pretty subjective, although as a word its meaning is pretty simple for us to comprehend, but when you read the book you'd actually understand that there are so many different nuances and parts that we don't really know about. So that's why I included this book specially in this video, but as I said, I already have a review, you can check that out too. Once you finish reading Grit, I want you guys to go ahead and read this book. The name of the book is Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Erik, and I feel like this book is again very important, especially when you have completed reading Grit. This book basically clarifies all the wrong ideas that we have towards success. It talks about the science behind success and it describes to you different stories, different success stories, and how different things worked out for different people. And this book also talks about the book Grit. So if there are any loopholes in the concept of grit, you will get to read about it and it will clarify everything. So this book is basically to clarify all the wrong ideas that you have towards success. Next up, I have Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Now when it comes to law of attraction, law of vibration, manifestation, affirmations, there are so many books that are based on these topics. Now of course there is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, and I love these 2 books. But if there's one book that I want to recommend when it comes to all of these topics, I think Good Vibes, Good Life is the best one out there. Why? Because it's written by an author whom we can see on Instagram, who we can connect to, who we can relate to as well, because he belongs to a generation that is very near to us. So of course you can go out and read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, or you can go read Think and Grow Rich. Like Napoleon Hill is of course the pioneer when it comes to law of attraction, but this book is pretty lengthy, it's very informative, but it's also very repetitive. And when it comes to all of these topics, I don't want you guys to struggle through books that are repetitive. I want you guys to get the hang of it, get to know the topic and then move on, and that's why I have included this book and not the other 2 books, but they are just as good. So you can go ahead and read those 2, but for now, if you just want to get to know the topic and understand everything about it, you should totally go for this book. Next up, I have Everything is F'd by Mark Manson. He is also the writer of The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and that book got really popular. I liked that book as well, but I think this one is more special to me. Why? I will tell you right now. Now this book is about hope. As you can see, it's written on the book as well, but that's not really the part on which I'm trying to stress. I think the best part about this book is the chapter where Mark Manson has discussed the thinking brain and the feeling brain. So he has divided our brain into two parts, feeling brain and thinking brain, and then he goes ahead and talks about it. I think that is really stunning. I never really thought about our brain and everything in that way, and when I read that part I could resonate, like I could totally relate. I actually understood and connected with the entire idea, and I was like, yes, I do that as well. I really want you guys to go and read this book, because that part is so important. In our life there are times when we do overthink things and we end up being really weird. I don't know, I am just a weird person anyway, but this book really, clears out the tangles. It untangles the parts of our brain that we keep stressing on. I just really love this book for that chapter personally. So I already have a review of this book on my channel, by the way. You can totally go and check that out as well. I will obviously put the link in the description. But yeah, I feel like you should totally read the book specifically for that one chapter. Next up, I have the 5 AM Club by Robin Sharma, and Robin Sharma's name is really important when it comes to self-help genre. He has written so many books in this genre, and I think like the 5 AM Club is the best one. It's his masterpiece of a book, and I want you guys to read it. Now, of course, from the name of the book, you will get to know that it's all about waking up at 5 AM and starting your day at 5 AM, but that's not the only important part about the book. There are so many different things that he has actually discussed in the book, and one of the best things that is discussed in the book is about our bravery, about our heroism, about how special we are. So what happens is that a lot of times in our life we think that we are ordinary people and we believe in mediocrity. We live our life thinking that mediocre is okay, that it's okay to be ordinary and all of that stuff. The society has fed us with its narrative that mediocrity is okay, that we are ordinary people and that we should live a mediocre life. The society just tells us to settle, and that's all. Maybe 9 to 5 is not your thing, but you still do it because the society has told you that you can only do that, and you do not really go out of your way and try to find out what you are really good at. And that's why reading this book is important, because this book gives you this courage and bravery to actually go ahead and see what you're really good at, what you can totally do, what you're passionate about. So this is why I feel like this book is really important, especially if you're going through a crisis or going through a phase where you are directionless, you're lost, you just need some kind of motivation and inspiration. And it's definitely not just about waking up at 5 AM. It will totally change you. It will revolutionize the way you think about yourself. Next up, I have Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. Now guys, hope is a very important thing. Until and unless there is hope in your life, you are alive. The day your hope dies, I feel like everything comes to an end, because if you're not hopeful, then I don't really think you're even alive. So we are privileged people. Now, if you have a mobile phone and if you have internet and you can watch this video, I feel like you are a privileged person. But there are people who are in worse conditions, and even then they have hope in their heart, and I think that is such a great thing. So Man's Search for Meaning is mostly about hope. It's about sustaining that hope even in such terrible conditions. So Viktor E. Frankl was in the concentration camp of Auschwitz during the World War II, and he saw people going through the worst conditions, and there he found hope as well. So a lot of times we get existential crisis, we feel like we don't have any hope, we don't have any meaning, but honestly, until and unless you are hopeful, you have hope for a better future, for a better life, I feel like you have meaning in your life, and that is the meaning in itself of your life. And that's what he tries to tell you through his anecdotes and stories from the concentration camps and what he went through and how he found his anchor and hope. So next up we have Life's Amazing Secrets by Gaur Gopal Das. So I also wanted to incorporate a book that's about spirituality, because spirituality is a great part when it comes to self-help, and I think Life's Amazing Secret is a great book to get started with spirituality. So even though the book is all about spirituality and inner happiness, I feel like the book is not very preachy, the book is not very heavy, it's very light-hearted, and it expresses all the good things in such a good way. It's a happy lovely book in my opinion. And Gaur Gopal Das has this flair of writing. It is very hopeful when you read his words. That's what I felt. So when I was reading it, I was learning so many different things, and it just made me really happy, hopeful. And also the book is not repetitive at all. It's very, very interesting. It keeps on the pace. It does not get boring. I feel like I wanted to read more. So when the book ended, I was pretty sad. I just wanted to read more of the book. And his writing is just very, very cool, calm, composed. That's what I felt. So if you're going through a mental rut, or you just want some kind of escape, I think this book is definitely for you. Lastly, we have How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, when it comes to Dale Carnegie, he's like the pioneer of all of these things, of communication, self-help, personality development, and you can totally trust Dale Carnegie when it comes to all of these things. And if you're someone who wants to read something about personal development, personality, building a character, his books will help you a lot. So of course we cannot control people, but we can create a controlled environment, and that's where this book comes handy. Now this book will make you learn how you can create an environment where you have a certain kind of control when you are talking to someone, when you are trying to win over their heart, and when you are trying to influence them. So when you are socializing, basically, it will really help you a lot. Maybe you are just about to enter college, maybe you are just about to enter an office environment, and you just don't know how to socialize, how to network. I think this book will help you so much, and that's why this is the book that I added in this recommendations video. Alright guys, so these were all the self-help books that I wanted to recommend to you guys. If you read all these books, I don't really think you need to read anything other than that, and that's the best part. So these are the 8 books that you need to read, and that's it, that's all. So of course you can go ahead and read more books, and that's totally up to you. But if you want to read a limited number of books, I think these will be the best. I really hope that you found this video helpful and valuable. If you did, then do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon so you are notified with all the updates, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.